The age gap between them was significant. She was 42, and he was just 31. Despite their differences, they connected on a level that acknowledged each other's flaws. Mohan, fully aware of Tanishka's situation as a single mother, made a bold proposition. He was willing to support her and her son, but only if Tanishka agreed to be at his service anytime and anywhere. Hello and welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into another gripping and horrifying real-life event from around the world. This case is a bit different from what we usually cover, but trust me, it's fascinating, and you'll want to stick around until the very end. Our story takes us to the bustling city of Ludhiana, located in the state of Punjab, India. Ludhiana is a major hub in Punjab, widely recognized for its booming textile industry, particularly its production of knitwear and wool. The city also thrives on its rapidly growing machine industry, which provides livelihoods to many. However, like in any city, not everyone living there is fortunate. Some families face immense struggles just to make ends meet, and unfortunately, this often leads them down paths that are far from moral or lawful. So, what exactly happened in this intriguing case? Let's dive deeper and uncover the full story. Before we dive into the story, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with your friends. It's a story you won't want to miss. So here's how it goes. There was a woman named Tanishka, born in 1975, whose life was marked by heartbreak and struggles that will make you feel sad, but also leave you shaking your head. From a young age, Tanishka faced immense challenges. She lost her father early on and became an only child under the care of her mother, Kaushiki. But Kaushiki wasn't the nurturing kind. She was a strict, tough woman, often drunk, and known for her relationships with multiple men. Kaushiki's harsh demeanor wasn't entirely without reason. She was a single mother, fighting to support her family after her husband's death. By day, she worked in a textile factory, but her salary wasn't enough to make ends meet. So, after her shifts, she ran a massage service catering mostly to male clients. And when some of them asked for extra services, Kaushiki didn't say no. It was these side jobs that truly kept her family afloat. Unfortunately, Kaushiki's struggles spilled over into her relationship with Tanishka. Her rough treatment drove Tanishka to live with her grandmother, who cared for her until she passed away in 1997. With no other option, Tanishka returned to live with her mother, where life only got tougher. Kaushiki began pushing Tanishka to follow in her footsteps, first helping with massages, and later, even asking her to serve her mother's clients for money. Once Tanishka started earning, Kaushiki quit her job entirely, living off her daughter's income and declaring she was done working. Fast forward a few years, and Tanishka's life took a predictable turn. By then, working as a comfort woman had become her primary source of income. But in 2002, when she was 26, she met a man who claimed to accept her as she was. For a moment, it seemed like things might change. However, Kaushiki was furious. She disapproved of the relationship, partly because she didn't want to lose the money she was getting from Tanishka, and partly because her daughter's fiancé was a construction worker with a drinking problem. Kaushiki suspected the man only wanted to use Tanishka as a financial crutch. Despite her mother's objections, Tanishka went through with the marriage. But Kaushiki was right. This man was far from reliable. The marriage lasted just 6 months. Her husband turned out to be a heavy drinker who not only refused to support their household, but even encouraged Tanishka to continue working as a comfort woman to fund their lives. Disgusted and fed up, Tanishka filed for divorce. After all, why stay with someone who only adds to your burdens instead of easing them? Once again, Tanishka found herself back at square one, living with her mother. After her divorce, Tanishka found a job as a car salesperson at a mall in downtown Ludhiana. While the job was stable, many of her colleagues had side hustles serving men on weekends to make extra cash. Influenced by this environment and the pressure of supporting her mother, Tanishka found herself slipping back into the line of work she had left nearly 2 years prior. The salary from her sales job wasn't enough, and returning to her old ways seemed like an easy solution to make ends meet. In 2008, Tanishka's mother, Kaushiki, became close to a regular massage client named Naveen. He was a married soldier with 4 children, well-liked and respected in the community. Over time, his visits became more frequent, especially after he discovered that Kaushiki had a daughter, Tanishka, who fit his type. Naveen became intrigued, and Kaushiki, ever blunt and opportunistic, didn't hesitate to offer her daughter to him. She even said Tanishka could either be his second wife or simply someone he could enjoy when he pleased. While it might have seemed shocking for a mother to speak so casually about her daughter, Naveen appreciated Kaushiki's boldness. He suggested a trial night first, with Kaushiki setting the terms and Tanishka expected to comply. Their first encounter happened in September 2008, when Tanishka was 33 and Naveen was 35. Naveen quickly became infatuated with her, growing increasingly possessive. He demanded that she stop seeing other men entirely, something that wasn't part of their initial agreement. The restrictions and constant rules soon made Tanishka feel suffocated. She confided in her mother about Naveen's controlling behavior and his unusual demands in bed. Instead of being supportive, Kaushiki brushed off her concerns, telling her to adjust and comply, especially since Naveen was paying generously. To Kaushiki, the money outweighed her daughter's discomfort. When Naveen's possessiveness became more intense, Kaushiki stepped in to negotiate higher payments. She argued that if Naveen wanted exclusivity and special treatment, he would have to pay a premium price. For Kaushiki, everything had a price tag. Tanishka resisted her mother's plans. She wanted to maintain her freedom, keep working, and have a social life to avoid boredom. But since Kaushiki had already struck a deal with Naveen, Tanishka reluctantly gave in. She quit her job and even rented a separate house from her mother, giving her privacy whenever Naveen visited. At first, Naveen seemed to grow more attached to Tanishka, professing his love and even promising to leave his wife and children for her. This gave Tanishka hope for a stable, happy family life, something she had always dreamed of. But those promises never materialized. Instead, Tanishka found herself pregnant and gave birth to a son, Anand, in September 2009. After Anand's birth, Naveen's visits became infrequent. He claimed to be busy with work but continued to send her monthly financial support. Tanishka didn't press him too much at the time. She was content as long as her son was provided for. But by the time Anand turned 3, Naveen's visits had stopped altogether, and the money dried up. Calls and messages went unanswered. Desperate and angry, Tanishka began sending Naveen threatening messages, warning him that she would show up at his house and tell his wife everything. Even Kaushiki joined in, demanding money for her grandson's upbringing. But Naveen ignored them both. Things escalated in January 2013 when Kaushiki, in a fit of desperation, showed up at Naveen's house to demand financial support for Anand. Furious, Naveen lashed out, yelling at her to leave and even hitting her. A few days later, he appeared at Kaushiki's home, where Tanishka and Anand were now living. Naveen promised to start sending money again for the child's needs, but he warned them to stay away from his house. If his wife found out, it could ruin his career and reputation in the army. For a couple of weeks, things seemed to settle. Naveen resumed the payments, and Kaushiki and Tanishka stayed away. But by February 2013, Kaushiki was back at his house, claiming the monthly amount wasn't enough. This time, Naveen's anger boiled over. His wife had grown suspicious of the old woman's repeated visits, putting him in a precarious position. Then, in mid-February 2013, tragedy struck. Around 11 p.m., while Kaushiki was drinking at her regular nightclub, she was attacked by an unknown assailant and lost her life. Devastated, Tanishka reported the incident to the authorities, but no investigation was ever conducted, and the case was closed without answers. The incident sent a chilling message to Tanishka. She couldn't shake the suspicion that Naveen, with his connections and influence as a soldier, might have orchestrated the attack. Fearing for her own safety and Anand's, she stopped demanding money entirely. The lingering horror of what could happen to her son kept her silent, haunted by the realization of just how dangerous Naveen could be. As Tanishka got older, finding a steady job became harder. With no other options, she reached out to an old friend from her car sales days, Nandini, hoping for a lead on someone who might hire her as an entertainer. Nandini, though now married and having turned her life around, still had connections from her past. Reluctantly, Tanishka returned to the nightlife. To ensure her son, Anand, was cared for, she left him with Nandini while she worked. Anand believed his mom worked as a hotel cleaner, which explained her late-night returns, though whispers about her true line of work started to circulate. By late 2017, Tanishka began a relationship with a younger man named Mohan, a 31-year-old former soldier. At the time, she was 42, and despite their age difference, they bonded over their shared flaws. Mohan, fully aware that Tanishka had a son, made her an offer. He'd support both her and Anand financially if she agreed to be available to him anytime, anywhere. Desperate and pragmatic, Tanishka accepted. But their arrangement didn't last. After 2 months, Mohan stopped sending money. When Tanishka confronted him, she made it clear she wanted to end things. Mohan apologized, blaming financial strains, and begged her not to leave, claiming her services were unmatched. However, Tanishka stood firm. This infuriated Mohan, who began harassing her, even threatening to harm her son if she cut ties with him. Terrified, Tanishka reported Mohan to the police. By chance, the case was handled by Naveen, her former connection. Naveen, now leveraging his authority, warned Mohan to back off. Thankfully, the threat worked, and Mohan disappeared. When the pandemic hit in 2020, Tanishka's situation grew even more dire. With hotels closed and her usual clients gone, her income dried up completely. It was Nandini and her husband who stepped in, supporting Tanishka and Anand through those challenging months. For nearly 2 years, they provided for her, giving her the stability she desperately needed. By mid-2021, as restrictions eased and life began returning to normal, Tanishka decided to take control of her finances again. She turned to dating apps, hoping to meet men willing to pay for her companionship. Her goal was simple: repay Nandini's generosity and ensure Anand could return to school with all his needs met. At 11 years old, her son's expenses were growing, and Tanishka needed to earn more. Despite being 45, Tanishka found no shortage of admirers. She became popular again, juggling a packed schedule of clients, especially on weekends. Some days, she worked from noon until after midnight, often returning home at dawn. It was grueling, but Tanishka did it all for the sake of her beloved son, determined to give him a better life, no matter the cost to herself. On the last night of September 2021, around midnight, Tanishka met with her final client in a hotel room. His name was Rajesh, a 45-year-old man with 4 children. By that time, Tanishka was visibly exhausted, though she insisted on going through with the meeting. Rajesh even suggested cancelling, but she refused, claiming she was just tired from helping a friend with an event. In truth, she had already served multiple clients that day. They continued with their encounter, and Rajesh, being experienced, had a rather intense approach. No one knows exactly what happened during their time together, but by 4 a.m., Tanishka was exhausted and fell asleep. An hour later, Rajesh woke up to find her lying beside the bed with a red stain spreading from her lower body. Panicked, he noticed her pale face and realized she wasn't breathing. He tried calling the receptionist, but no one answered. In a panic, he shouted for help from his room until a cleaner and the receptionist came to check on Tanishka. Shocked and unsure of what had happened, they called an ambulance, which rushed her to Ludhiana City Hospital. Sadly, the doctors pronounced her dead, estimating she had passed away 3 hours earlier. Rajesh was immediately taken into custody for questioning. During the investigation, Rajesh maintained that he had no idea what caused Tanishka's death. He explained that they had met on a dating app and this was their first time meeting. According to him, Tanishka seemed charming but also a little tired and unwell. Despite this, she was engaging and, as he put it, amazing. He swore he didn't harm her and was cooperative with authorities. His lawyer worked tirelessly to push for a thorough medical examination to determine the exact cause of her death. The findings revealed severe damage and lacerations to Tanishka's sensitive organs, leading to significant blood loss. However, police uncovered a shocking detail from her phone. In the 24 hours leading up to her death, Tanishka had served 17 clients, starting Saturday at 5 p.m. and continuing past midnight on Sunday. Some sessions even involved 3 clients at once. Rajesh was her 17th client, a meeting she almost cancelled out of exhaustion but ended up completing anyway. Nandini, her close friend, later revealed that Tanishka had confessed to serving 9 teenage clients the day before. The medical report concluded that her death resulted from a combination of extreme physical exhaustion, lack of sleep, and internal injuries. There was no evidence of congenital illness or external trauma inflicted by Rajesh. It was suggested that her condition may have been worsened by the intensity of her clients, with Rajesh being the final tipping point. In March 2022, after months of deliberation, the judge and prosecutor dropped all charges against Rajesh. It was determined that he was not responsible for her death, which was officially attributed to natural causes stemming from internal complications. Rajesh was released. As for Tanishka's son, Anand, he was taken in by Nandini and her husband, who had long considered him part of their family. Anand was told that his mother had passed away due to a work accident. Some relatives suggested turning him over to his biological father, Naveen, but Nandini refused. According to her, Tanishka had always said that Naveen never acknowledged Anand, fearing his wife would discover the affair and ruin his career. Anand remained with Nandini, finding a stable and loving home amidst the heartbreak of losing his mother. What lessons can we learn from this story?